a lot of companies are migrating from a traditional company to a technology company. And their software engineers, data scientists, machine learning engineers, every tech-related positions will be increased. In that case, I think there are a lot of opportunities.
Welcome, everyone, to the TechGuide podcast, where we give actual advice to those wanting to break into tech or are looking for their next gig. We have Jian Wang on the podcast today, talk about being a software engineer at WeWork. Thank you so much for joining us today. So excited to have you on.
Thank you, Ryan, for hosting this podcast. And hi, everyone. I'm Jian. Hopefully I can share my stories that is inspiring to you and help you.
And I think you have some really great stories to share with us because you are originally from China, then you came over to the US around 2015. I'm just curious, talk to me about growing up in China and coming over to the US. Let's go back to 2015 when you're starting to make that transition and thinking, I might go over to the United States.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to share not that inspiring, but I would say it's a trajectory. That's a personal route that's promote to a software engineer. That some thought process you should be thinking in this process. I think, as you already know, I spent about 5 years in the banking field in China as a software engineer. That's a story I'm going to share. That the software world in the banking field, not only in China, but across the world, especially for the financial technology stuff, considering the privacy or security reasons, I would say most of the technical programs or softwares people are using inside the banking field are closed sourced, or say not public visible. In that case, there are pros and cons. Like you already know that the pros is you have a lot of opportunity to build things that can impact a lot of people's money and loan managers and a lot of people. Yeah. But the cons is as you self-invented everything, you feel like the tech stack you are maintaining and creating is, I would say, isolated from the outside world. As the time passed by, you may probably feel somewhat expect you are falling behind the world. So in that case, I think the one important decision I made is I really want to learn something from the outside world, especially as a software engineer, the big data technology, the fintech, the biotech, the internet, and the AI technology are developing and evolving all the time. I really feel that I belong to that world instead of I would say, a tech stack that we are trying to reinvent to compete to the other part of the world. So I think that is a story I'm trying to share that's inspiring the audience, that if you're trying to study or say step into the software engineering world, one decision you have to make is whether you want to build a public visible softwares that maybe impact the entire world or millions of people. The other choice is you can also choose a career which you can create a lot of things from scratch, which is very, I would say, have a lot of sense of achievement. And also the life is very stable, I would say.
Yeah.
Not too many, late work hours, not too much push from your manager. So everything's a trade-off. So that's why I made a decision. I want to um, pursue my master's degree in the US as major in computer science.
So it really was that choice that you made to say like, hey, like this isn't really aligned with like what I want to be doing, and I want to move to the US where those possibilities to build something that I want to build are more prominent, and like that opportunity is there.
Yeah, and also learn new things, especially some distributed technology, some framework that I have never learned before, and programming languages I have never developed or used. Those opportunities are super, charming to me.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people that we have on that come to the United States from like other countries. We have some people that come from like India. We've had some people that come from like England and whatnot. It's always interesting to say like how much they think like how many opportunities there are in the United States that to like go further than in other countries. That's like a common theme we hear a lot, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think the opportunity in the US is, I would say, you can never think about as that many, but as long as you want to pursue, there are many opportunities. Almost, I would say, as time passed by, a lot of companies are migrating from a traditional company to a technology company. And their software engineers, data scientists, machine learning engineers, every tech-related positions will be increased. In that case, I think there are a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, like right now, like every company is a tech company is like what they like to say, but they're hiring tech roles like a software engineer, like a data analyst, machine learning engineer to help them drive their tech. Because as you know, like if you can drive the tech within a company, you can drive a lot more revenue within a company. And I think corporations are starting to realize that as well.
Yeah, that's where innovations bring the productivity, right?
Yeah. I love that. So let's just talk about the opportunities that you had then. So you moved over to the US and you went to the Stevens Institute of Technology. Drop me on the college campus right next to you when you first like step on here. What was it like being in the US, attending like a master's degree when so far away from home, you're in computer science? I mean, what was some of those feelings like?
I would say there's not too much differences between the campus in China and in the US. As I mean, the major course setups and the education form are very similar. And for me, my attachment style is kind of not that very close to my parents. So I would say I might be grow anywhere. And I love to be in anywhere in the world and enjoy the life. So in a Stevens SIT, I think I quickly get be familiar with the campus life, and also the course. Actually, the course setup is super interesting. There's even they call it computer science. There are still a lot of courses related to data, data mining, even some fundamentals of machine learning. I remember I chose the computer architecture, distributed system, data mining, and database fundamentals. Those are what I'm trying to learn even before I landed in US.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a dream come true.
Yeah, I was gonna say that has to be so cool to bring those skills over to the U.S. and be able to apply it within like an American institution, essentially. I'm sure. Yeah, that was. Was there any like culture shock or anything coming over to the U.S.?
Not too much. I would say the atmosphere on the during the class, I think it's much warmer or noisy than in China, because China has 1,000 of culture for teaching and learning. Like students must respect the teachers.
Yeah,
Kind of a stereotype. Uh, but in the U.S., it's much I would say more flexible, and the relationship with the teacher is like a friend.
that's really interesting. So then you graduate there, and let's try to talk about like breaking into tech, I guess, in the United States. Was there any difficulties then landing a job after you got your master's, or what did that problem look like, or how did you first get your first role, essentially?
This is a great question. I think everyone should face this problem when they enter into a tech career. I think everything, I mean, including technology, is just a skill.
Yep.
So the interview is also a skill you need to learn and master. So I'm not sure non-tech roles how they interview people, but for tech interviews, people are usually get to 5 to 8 or 9 round of interview with different roles in a company. For
And
example, usually for software engineers, we usually get into 3 or 4 coding interviews, depending on your level.
yeah,
A couple of system design interviews, a couple of behavior interviews. Some company may have manager talk, and even some company have a HR talk after. If they think you are qualified, they will
yeah,
directly talk to you, negotiate with salaries with you. But I think for the first time I been interviewed in those companies, it's really, I would say, energy consuming. I remember one time I experienced a 1 day 9 round interview. Uh,
wow.
yeah, for the I think beginning from the 7th round, I began to exhausted.
Oh my gosh, 9 rounds of interviews.
Yeah. So
How?
for the
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so for the first few round interview, if I am very passionate to introduce myself, but after 7 round, I don't know what I said about myself at all. So
Yeah.
I think the energy preparation is very important.
Oh, the energy preparation that you like bring into an interview.
Yeah, especially like take enough exercises, have a good sleep, drink
I love that.
enough water, and also practice some interview questions. So you don't need to think in an ad hoc manner.
Yeah, that's what I think is like energy preparation. I love that term. That's a great term because I feel like you do have to bring your best self into an interview, especially if it's 9 rounds. One
Mm-hmm.
that is too long. I personally think don't tell whoever that was, but bringing your best self every day through sleep, through preparation, through exercise is like so important if you do want to do your best and be able to last 9 rounds of an interview process. So really love that term.
I think energy preparation, and also you need to study all the, I would say, usual, do your research, study
Yeah.
the usual questions, behavior questions, algorithm question, data structure question,
Yep.
object-oriented programming, system design, and also some communication skills you need to learn. Yeah,
I
all
love that.
those things is very important for your performance.
Yeah, if someone is going to break into tech, let's kind of dive that into a little bit more. What are like 2 things that you think are most essential if someone's trying to break into tech? Is it their background in tech, technical roles? Is it their interpersonal skills, specifically which ones? Or what are some like the 2 most important ways or 2 most important things someone needs to break into tech?
That's a good question. I think it really depends on different people.
Yeah.
For the people who already familiar with those topics, especially the fundamentals, I think the best thing is for their leadership or communication, effective communication or management skills, because when you want to promote in your career, it's much more important to organize and lead the thing you want to achieve and
Yeah.
managing the time and energy, not only yourself, but also the others, team members in your team. You need a lot of communications with other team members. You need to learn, and also you need to teach others
Mhm.
what you know. I think those are very important. But if you don't have the fundamentals like data structure, algorithm, and coding, let's say 10,000 line of code,
Yeah.
probably that's a must thing you need to do.
We had someone on recently where they were talking about like to be like a great software engineer, you of course need to know how to code, but if you really want to stand out, it's those communication skills that can like really set you apart in your career, and that alluded to like what you just said as well.
Exactly. That's true.
And so I want to talk a little bit more. So you build this foundation, you have the communication skills, you have all the great skills. You now get a job at WeWork. You got the job about coming up on 4.5 years ago. How did this role with WeWork come up essentially, and how did you excel in that interview to land a job at WeWork?
So first of all, I'm not that proud that I'm super good at communication or
Yeah,
anything. I'm still in the learning process. There's a lot of things I need to learn from the others, different personalities, different leadership styles, and different management skills, and the way people want to express themselves. Everything's different. So I have a lot of things to learn from others. So I'm still growing. I think for landing the interview in WeWork is the most satisfying process I have ever experienced.
wow.
Yeah, I mean, WeWork is really a different company compared to other technology companies. So when we do interview, we still do the coding interview and system design interview and behavior interview and a manager talk, basically 5 to 6 rounds, depending on the roles you are applying for. The real difference is WeWork has communicate with you the culture
Mm,
within themselves, because WeWork is a workplace. They offer different style of how you work, and the culture is be human, be kind,
yeah,
think critically, and do the right things, and work like you actually work as you are living a life, not just work. So people are communicating this kind of culture to you while we are interviewing the others. So this kind of communication make me, feel very satisfied.
mhm,
It seems like you are already working with other people, and people are giving you that experience that you're already working at WeWork. So I like the way people express themselves, and also the obvious things I will not mention because WeWork offers a flexible workplace. Basically, the product itself is charming.
yeah. Yeah, I think anyone that's ever been in a WeWork too will really like it as well. Obviously, people love WeWorks just for what they are and like the experience that you get there. So yeah, I've heard a lot about like how much WeWork has like actually put into the culture, and it's cool to hear that from someone that actually works there. What you guys have put into it. But I am curious as well. So you recently obtained a prompt engineering for LLM certificate from Maven. Share with us about that. We're talking a little bit about it before we actually press recording here, but yeah, can you kind of highlight that? I think that is like so cool and like so trendy for what we need today.
I would say it's not just me. Everyone, especially in the tech world, is looking at how the generative AI performs. I mean, generative AI is not just the recent years starting from GPT. It
Yeah,
actually is already been there for maybe 30 years. But most recently, I think OpenAI has opened everyone's eyes
yeah,
because the capacity is really charming, amazing. I think the central idea is through very, very large big data training, the GPT can perform at least at the levels on some specific topic at the level of middle school student or even college student. But the only thing is we are watching it. We don't know the boundary of its ability, like what specific things he can do better and what specific things he don't know at all or he always confusing. Nobody knows. So that is the reason I choose to learn some prompt engineering. So I know that what questions can be asked, and I can get the desired answers. So, and I think the course I take, some want to shout out to Alvas Saravia. He's a PhD researcher, previously working in Meta, and he currently is a founder of an AI company called Dare AI. He has a live session called Prompt Engineering, offering for a cohort-based lessons, so people can discuss in real time with different people and discuss all the boundaries, the toolings, the technology, also some capacities, including evaluating, testing, and improve fine-tuning the large language models based on the open AI APIs.
Interesting. So
I learned a lot.
yeah, so basically it's teaching you on how to like stretch the boundaries of like a chat GPT and like actually get the best out of the prompts.
Yeah. So basically, I think for now, the current progress for prompt engineering is still at I would say, at a linear level. When I
Yeah.
say linear level, which means we whatever we think may be helpful for getting the right answer, we'll just put there,
Yeah.
or we provide a linear thought steps. We call it few shot or chain of thought, which means we give you some tips like if I give you some context, the step one I am thinking about A. Step two, step A will influence B. Then step three, then we will get an answer from C. So we provide that chain of thought to the large language model, and the GPT should answer the desired, give us a desired output. But the current thing is the researcher is still learning how a large language model can do more complex tasks. Like
Yep.
some thoughts might be tree structure, some thought might be graph structure, how we can train or prompt the large language model to understand this kind of task. I
Yeah.
think this is still being researched.
Yeah, I feel like ChatGPT, like at a surface level, still like I feel like we have people having really scratched the surface on the capabilities that ChatGPT can provide. All I do is basically, if I need a prompt, it's like a few steps and be like, can you produce this? And it produces it. But I feel like a prompt engineering, something like that, would be so useful to like actually get good at ChatGPT prompts.
Yeah, that's I think for straightforward question and answering, ChatGPT is super good. Yeah, but when you want to learn thing deeper, or you want to reason something, why you put that answer, or you challenge it, it may not give you the desired answer. But this really differs depending on what kind of things you are asking.
And I feel like I think we just crossed the 1 year anniversary on ChatGPT like a few days ago. So yeah, this is going to go a long ways. I know they already incorporated like Dolly into it. I've made some cool images with it. I know it can like interpret images
Oh,
as well. So yeah, I feel like has such a long ways to go, and we're just at the service level of it.
yeah. And also, I learned that if you want to build a production ready product, um, there are a lot of human powers and energy and time spent to build that. So it's still, I would say, yes, you are right. It's still in a very early stage.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like that's a great thing for like someone that's young in their career to learn is prompt engineering and by taking a course like that.
If you are interested, I highly recommend you to take the course as well. I think on the research area, this is one of the most authoritative or say leading topics that's being covered in the course.
That's amazing. Well, Jian, thank you so much for joining us today. That'll wrap us up. Appreciate you just sharing your story a little bit more, the advice you have, and then finish up with prompt engineering. So yes, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Ryan, for hosting this podcast. And I'm happy that I share my story that's inspiring all the audience who want to step into the tech world. Hopefully those contents are helpful.
Awesome. Definitely was helpful. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Ryan.